With a steel pride that will. Thank you very much. Thank you. I like to do a tune that I've been loving this song for years. And one of my dearest friends in the world wrote it. A guy named Dwayne Blackwell. And Dwayne and his brother were great songwriters. They were when they were 14, you know. They wrote this song. Listen, Dwayne wrote this song. Let's see. I'm Mr. Blue. When you say you love me. Anyway, he wrote that, and his brother wrote A Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? And anyway, and they as a team, they went up. They moved to Hollywood, and then they started writing tunes for like the Everly Brothers and Dandy Williams and everybody, you know. And he was my first really paid client as a session guitar player. I was like 18, and for some reason he liked what I played, and I ended up playing on all of his demos for about 50 years, 40 years. Everything he wrote, I played on. But he wrote this one song which just always hit me in the heart, you know. And sometimes they say the writer's best songs are the ones that you've never heard before, you know, the ones that go unrecorded and get up on the shelf. But this one here, this one always did it for me, and I'll play. I was just 15 when I quit school. Learned just enough to be a fool. Mama cried when I left home with my guitar. Mama won't stop picking till I'm a star. And I picked apples in Washington, beans in Oregon, honeydew melons in Arizona, and in Chowchilla, California. I picked cotton up to my Adam's apple. Speaking of apples, I picked them too. But mama, that ain't what I set out to do. Mama, if I'm still your pride and joy. Mama, come and get your baby boy. Mama, I'm no longer 15. There ain't much I haven't done or seen. I wanted to pick my way to the top. Mama, I'm so tired of picking like a drop. 'Cause I picked oranges in Florida, corn in Iowa, strawberries in Oklahoma, and Mama wanna go home. But Mama, you know home is a mighty long way, and a ticket comes to more than my pay. Mama, if I'm still your pride and joy. Mama, come and get your baby boy. Mama, if I'm still your pride and joy. Mama, come and get your baby boy. sure, because I just idolized him as a writer. It was really weird about when you're writing with guys of his caliber, and you're just starting out. When you're just starting out, you write songs on a legal pad, and you don't care if it rhymes or not, Elephant, car, that's close enough. But Dwayne, man, Dwayne, when I wrote in a three-way thing with Dwayne, like we brought on Rory Burke, who was a real famous Hall of Fame writer, and so they would work on the lyrics while I'd work on the music. I'd sit there and play while they were working on lyrics, and it would all kind of morph into this thing. And they would fight over words like the, it, and I mean, they go back and forth, and just taking autopsies on these lyrics, and I'd sit there, every time they'd come up with a line, I'd go like, that's good enough, that's great, and they'd say, no, it isn't. I'd go, oh, man. So I'd sit in a chair, and I got a phone call from Dwayne, and he said, hey, man, it's just with it's great. And you're in Nashville. And wow, great. So finally I got to write with Dwayne, and he's just like, I'm writing for Motown Joe Bit Music, and come on down to the office, down here in Music Row, and we're going to do some work just like the old days. And I went, what? So and here's this, and this is Tommy so and so. And I knew some of them from doing demos that these guys were great singers, and they could sing like anybody, which made them great demo singers. So if you wrote a tune like for Merle Haggard, you could go, oh, I'll go to Bill so and so. He sounds just like Haggard. So he had a whole roster of these singers. So Dwayne had this song that he was going to do, and I heard it, and I went, oh man! I said, that is a smash, He says, great, because we're going to do it, and we're going to use you and Steve Turner on drums, and we're in the studio going to go and cut it. And great, who's singing this? And he told me, you should have got Tommy on this. He says, why are you so against, this? And I said, well, I'll tell you, Dwayne, why. Nobody in radio is really going to play a record by a guy named Garth. And Garth was our singer. And we went out to the studio. We walked the studios during a blizzard. And Garth came up. He was driving an old beat-up Jeep, and he got $35 for singing. And the song that we did was I had this little intro that went to. And Garth sang it, and it came out and became the biggest selling country music single in history. And I'm glad Dwayne didn't listen to me. And the weirdest thing about it was like, so the record comes out, and the album comes out, and the first single, The End of Tomorrow Never Comes, which was, I think, the first single. And Garth was going to debut it on the Grand Ole Opry, And back then, we could get a direct live feed to see the Opry in our homes, and where we lived in Nashville. So Dwayne calls up and says, Garth's on the Opry, don't miss it. So I turn it on, and Roy Acuff says, he says, now we got a boy here on Capitol Records, and we're going to bring him out right now, and give a warm applause for Garth Brooks, They applaud mildly, and Garth walks out with his Garth Brooks kind of half thing, and then he gets to the mic and he just stands there for like about 30 seconds, which was an eternity on TV when you're not saying anything, And I'm thinking like, okay, he's gonna freak, he's like gonna lose it right on TV. And then finally gets up to the mic and he sings, and he got 2 encores, and that's when the light went off in my head. Dwayne was 100% right about this guy, And I was so excited, and I ran to the fax machine, and we had fax machines back then. And I sent Garth a little note, to his manager's office to give to Garth, and said, Garth, congratulations! I saw you on the Opry. You were fabulous. You were just unbelievable. Go get him, pal. Yeah, And they faxed it off to him. And I got this about 2 days later. I got this letter in the mail from GB Management, and I opened it up, and it said, Dear Garth Brooks fan, although Mr. Brooks is very busy right now with the success of if tomorrow never comes, we would like to. He would like to invite you to join his fan club for $25 a year. What the hell? So I go to the fax machine again. I fire off another fax, and I said, Bob, that's his manager, Bob. What the hell? I said I got a form letter from you guys. So he gave it to Garth, and Garth. And then a couple days later, another package comes in the mail, and it's a tube, one of those where you put posters in. I pull the poster out, and it's a big poster of Garth, and he's got a guitar, and he's got the hat, and he wrote on it, "To John, here's to the good old days when only you would play my songs." Oh. Yeah, and today, to this day, I got it hanging in my studio. So, I love Dwayne with all my heart, and he's having a hard time in Mexico. He had a couple strokes, and he's hanging in there. But one of the greatest writers that ever lived, and I'm proud that I wrote this next song. There's a little chapel not too far away, where I hear she's gonna tie the knot today. And it's gonna break my heart when that organ music starts, 'cause I know I should be by her side today. When the preacher says who'll give this bride away, I should have held her a little bit more. I should have kissed her just a little bit more. They say you don't know what you got until one day it's gone. Well, I found out the hard way, that's for sure. I should have loved that girl a little bit more. Well, I built a little house for her and I, on a piece of land that I saved up to buy. Now it sits upon that hill, so silent, so still, while she walks down that aisle all dressed in white. Guess the little voice inside my heart was right. I should have held her a little bit more. I should have kissed her just a little bit more. They say you don't know what you got until one day it's gone. Well, I found out the hard way, that's for sure. I should have loved that girl a little bit more. It's a lesson for the learning, any fool could see. So if you want to keep that girl, you better take a tip from me. You better hold her a little bit more. You better kiss her just a little bit more. They say you don't know what you've got till one day it's gone. Well, you'll find out the hard way, that's for sure. If you don't love that girl a little bit more, you better love that girl a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I said 1979, so now I take it out the way, like the family dog, And being here, there's so many memories that come to mind, and it reminded me of a time that, when we were all out at the Troubadour and the Palomino Club and the Corral and Ash Grove and all these great clubs, and playing this kind of music, this kind of country music that we were hearing. West Coast country music, twang country music that wasn't top 40 crap that we were hearing on the radio. Not mushy ballads, but really neat Buck Owens and stuff like that, And that really inspired us, and the bands that came out of the Troubadour, you know, like Burritos and Pogo and all that. And Linda, you know, bless her heart, you know, right at the forefront, and Buffalo Springfield, the Dillards, I mean, all of that stuff was, you know, inspired us to have this, to develop this kind of California country sound, you know. And it's hard to explain it to people, but I know what it sounds like when I hear those bands. That could have only come out from out here, you know. Okay. And so when I'm driving around on the streets and everything, like we were on Lancashire tonight, and even though I didn't know where the Palomino was, I could feel it, you know. And all the nights I drove down Lancashire to do a gig at the Palomino with either Ricky Nelson or the Bellamy's or Linda, Bobby Bear. I mean, that was like a real home for me, and you know, country radio was tied to it too. You had KLAC, and KLAC would broadcast live from the Palomino, and it was all like one big neat thing, you know. And it all comes to mind when I'm out here those days, and how special they really were, and especially in light of some of the stuff that passes now for country, you know. Sure. And I'm being real polite. I wrote this song a few years ago that the Burritos recorded, and it really kind of sums up how I feel about the kind of stuff we did. We didn't make any money, you know. We didn't make anything. I mean, but it's funny when people bring albums up now for me to sign and stuff. You know, I keep thinking, where were you when the album came out? You know, I mean, I'm flattered. You think we were the greatest thing, but we could use the money back then. It would have been nice, you know. But here's a song I wrote about it. It's better if it's in tune. There we go. This is going to be a great song, really. Here. Better be with all this tuning going. Here we go. High above Topanga stood a club called the Old Corral. Just a little hippie honky-tonk I remember oh so well. By the bar there stood a jukebox, a neon sight to see, where 2 nickels played a short one and a quarter still played 3. Once upon my memory, but not too long ago, they played a different brand of country than we'd hear on the radio. Well, it didn't sound like Nashville, but it stood out from the rest. It was honest, plain and simple, and through the years it stood the test. And the California jukebox still echoes in my mind. It takes me back to yesterday, to another place and time, when the music really mattered, when it was all about a song that California jukebox played on. To the bands out on Doheny, to the boys in Bakersfield, with their rock and roll and rhinestones, Fender twins and steel. From Earl at the Palomino to the Birds at the Troubadour, all those rockin' country heroes, I'd like to hear them play once more. And the California jukebox, it still echoes in my mind. takes me back to yesterday, to another place in town, when the music really mattered, when it was all about a song that California jukebox played on and on. That California jukebox played on.